My fiancée made an unusual request to let her ex-boyfriend move into our guest room until he gets on his feet. I said sure. Then I moved out and took my name off the lease. She panicked when the landlord came for rent, and neither of them had a job. Original post. I, 31 male, have been with my fiancée, 29, for 4 years. Engaged for 8 months. We moved into a nice 2-bedroom apartment together about 2 years ago, and I've been carrying the lease solo since the beginning because her credit score looked like a phone number from a horror movie. The understanding was always that I'd handle the lease. She'd contribute her share of rent from her freelance web design work. It worked. Mostly. 3 weeks ago, she sat me down after dinner with that look. You know the one. Though I'm about to ask you something insane, but I'm going to frame it like I'm the reasonable one. Look. So, I need to talk to you about something, she said, picking at her nail polish. My ex called me yesterday. He's going through a really hard time. Already feeling great about this conversation. His startup failed, she continued. He lost his apartment, and he's basically sleeping in his car. I know this is a lot to ask, but could he stay in our guest room? Just for a few weeks until he gets back on his feet. I stared at her. The guest room. In our apartment, where we were planning our wedding. She wanted her ex-boyfriend to move in. Your ex, I repeated slowly. The one you dated for 3 years before me? We're just friends now. It's been like 5 years since we broke up. There's nothing there anymore. Then why is he calling you when his life falls apart? She got defensive real quick. Because I'm a good person? Because I care about people? God, I didn't think you'd be so insecure about this. There it was. The "you're insecure" card. Classic. Here's the thing about me. I'm not a confrontational person by nature. I grew up watching my parents scream at each other over every little thing, and I swore I'd never be that guy. So when conflict comes, my default is to go quiet and think. And boy, was I thinking. I looked at my fiancée, really looked at her. This woman I'd built a life with. Supported through 2 failed business ventures. Paid for dental surgery when her insurance lapsed. And now she was asking me to house her ex while acting like I was the unreasonable one for having questions. Something shifted in me that night. I can't explain it exactly. It was like a switch flipped from trying to make this work to time to protect myself. You know what? I said, keeping my voice calm. Sure. If it means that much to you, he can stay. Her whole face lit up. Really? Oh my God, thank you so much. I knew you'd understand. She hugged me. I hugged her back, and I started planning. The next morning, I called my landlord. We'd always had a good relationship. I paid rent early, never caused problems, helped him fix a pipe once when his maintenance guy was MIA. Hey, I need to talk to you about my lease situation, I said. My relationship is ending, and I need to remove myself from the lease. He was quiet for a second. Sorry to hear that, man. What's the situation? I explained. No drama, just facts. I told him I'd be moving out, and that my fiancée would either need to take over the lease herself or vacate. He pulled up our file. Well, she's not on a lease at all, so technically she's just an occupant under your agreement. If you want out, I need her to qualify on her own. Credit check, income verification, the whole thing. And if she doesn't qualify, then she'd need to leave when you do. I can give 30 days notice once you formally submit your request. I thanked him and said I'd be in touch. Then I started packing. Quietly. Strategically. A box here, a bag there. Things she wouldn't notice missing. My fiancée, meanwhile, was preparing for her ex's arrival like she was hosting royalty. Deep cleaned the guest room. Bought new sheets. Got excited about helping someone in need. Never once asked me how I was feeling about any of it. He showed up on a Thursday evening. Pulled up in a beat-up sedan packed with garbage bags full of clothes. My fiancée ran out to greet him like a soldier returning from war. They hugged for way too long. I shook his hand, made small talk, played the gracious host. Inside, I was counting down the days. That first week, I watched everything, noticed everything. How he'd find excuses to be wherever she was. How she'd laugh at his jokes like he was a stand-up comedian. How they'd have late-night talks in the living room while I was supposedly asleep. I wasn't asleep. By day 10, I had a storage unit rented, my important documents secured, a room lined up at my buddy's place, and a formal letter ready from my landlord requesting lease termination with 30 days notice. The morning I left, My fiancée was at a client meeting. Her ex was still passed out in the guest room at 11 a.m. because apparently job hunting is exhausting when you don't actually do it. I loaded the last of my stuff into my car, left my keys on the kitchen counter with a note. I'm out. Lease termination submitted. You have 30 days to either qualify for your own lease or vacate. Good luck with everything. Then I drove away and didn't look back. Update 1 week later. So, the fallout. My phone started blowing up around 3 p.m. the day I left. My fiancé had come home to half-empty closets and my note. The voicemails were a journey. First message, confused. Hey, what's going on? Where's all your stuff? Call me. Second message, annoyed. This isn't funny. Why won't you answer? Third message, angry. Are you seriously doing this? Over nothing? You're throwing away 4 years because I wanted to help a friend. Fourth message, full panic. I just called the landlord. He said, you're terminating the lease? What the hell is wrong with you? I didn't respond to any of them. What was there to say? She made her choice. I made mine. But then the flying monkeys showed up. Her mother called me that Saturday. This woman has never liked me. Always thought her daughter could do better, but suddenly she's all sweetness. Honey, I know you're upset, but you can't just abandon her like this. She has nowhere to go. She has her ex-boyfriend, I said. Pretty sure that's what she wanted anyway. That's not fair. He's just a friend going through a hard time. Cool. Then he can go through his hard time somewhere else. Not my problem anymore. She called me heartless. Cold. Said I'd regret this when I realized what I lost. Hung up on me. Then her sister messaged me. Long paragraph about how I was overreacting and punishing her for having a big heart. According to the sister, I should have communicated my concerns like an adult instead of running away like a coward. I replied, I communicated my concerns. She told me I was insecure, so I removed myself from the situation. That is communicating. Got blocked after that. Here's where it gets interesting. The landlord called me Monday morning. So I reached out to your fiancée about taking over the lease, he said. She doesn't qualify. Credit shot. No steady income. She's technically supposed to be out when you are. What about her guest? He laughed. The guy sleeping in your guest room? He's not on any agreement. He's an unauthorized occupant as far as I'm concerned. Turns out, when my fiancée tried to negotiate with the landlord, her ex made it worse. Got on the phone and started demanding they be given more time, threatening to involve a lawyer over tenant rights. The landlord, a retired contractor who's seen every scam in the book, wasn't impressed. Told them both that they had until the end of the month to vacate or he'd start formal eviction proceedings. My fiancé texted me that night. Thanks a lot. Now we're being thrown out. Hope you're happy. I didn't respond. But yeah, I was a little happy. Update 2, 3 weeks later. Buckle up because the entitlement got wild. So I thought going no contact would be the end of the direct drama. Wrong. My fiancé decided that if I wouldn't respond to her, she'd find other ways to get to me. First, she showed up at my work. Just walked right into the office building and asked the receptionist to call me. I was in a meeting when my coworker texted me. Bro, your GF is in the lobby crying. I told reception I wasn't available and to please ask her to leave. She refused. Security had to escort her out. She apparently made a scene about how I was ruining her life, and she just wanted to talk. My boss pulled me aside after. I gave him the short version. Relationship ended. She's not handling it well. He was understanding, said to let him know if it became a pattern. That weekend, her ex reached out to me. Through LinkedIn, of all places. This clown sent me a professional connection request with a message. Hey man, I think we got off on the wrong foot. Would love to grab a beer and clear the air. Also, any chance you could talk to the landlord about extending the move-out date? We just need another month or two to figure things out. I almost admire the audacity. Almost. I declined the request without responding. Then came the guilt trip parade. My fiancé's mother called again, but this time she wasn't sweet. She was furious. You selfish, spiteful little man, she started. My daughter gave you 4 years of her life, and this is how you repay her? By making her homeless. Ma'am, I paid for that apartment. I'm on that lease. Your daughter's ex-boyfriend moved in without my real consent. and I removed myself from a situation I didn't agree to. That's not spite. That's self-preservation. She said, "You agreed." I agreed because saying no would have made me the villain either way. At least this way, I'm free. She went on a 10-minute rant about how I'd never find anyone who loved me like her daughter did. I let her talk. When she finally ran out of steam, I said, "Are you done? I have things to do." The sound she made before hanging up was almost worth everything. But here's where things got messy. The landlord called me midweek with an update. Apparently, neither my ex-fiancée nor her friend had made any moves to leave. Not only that, but they'd stopped even pretending to look for alternatives. They were just staying, eating through whatever food was left, not paying anything. "I'm starting the formal eviction process," the landlord told me. "Just wanted you to know, since your name was on the original lease." "I'm already off it, right?" "Yeah, you're clear. But I might need you to make a statement if this goes to court. They're claiming you abandoned them without notice." Abandoned them? Like we were a family unit and I was the deadbeat dad. The audacity was almost impressive. The landlord wasn't playing around, though. He served them official eviction papers the next day. 30 days to vacate or face sheriff enforcement. And that's when my ex-fiancée finally dropped the act. She sent me a text from her mother's phone. "Since I blocked her, I know what you're doing. You're trying to destroy me because you can't handle that I cared about someone other than you. This is abuse. I'm documenting everything. You'll be hearing from my lawyer." I screenshot it and sent it to the one lawyer friend I have. His response, "LOL. She has no case. You removed yourself from your own lease. That's not abuse, that's moving out." I slept pretty well that night. Final update, 6 weeks after I left. Time to wrap this up because I'm tired of living rent-free in these people's heads. The eviction went through. No lawyer ever materialized from my ex's side. Shocking, I know. Turns out legal representation costs money, and money requires income, and income requires a job. Neither of them had managed that particular achievement. Sheriff showed up on day 31. I know this because the landlord sent me a photo. We'd become oddly friendly through all this. My ex and her friend were hauled out with whatever belongings they could grab. The rest? Considered abandoned property. Landlord had it removed. Here's what happened to everyone. My ex moved back in with her parents. Her mother is apparently furious. Not at her daughter for the choices that led here, but at me for not being man enough to work through problems. Some people never change. I heard through mutual friends that she's telling everyone I was emotionally unavailable and controlling throughout our relationship. Classic rewrite. I'm not correcting the record. The people who know me know the truth. The rest don't matter. Her ex ended up couch surfing with other people he'd burned bridges with years ago. Last I heard, he's on his third host family in 2 months. Apparently, even bleeding hearts get tired of supporting grown men with no plan. His LinkedIn still says entrepreneur and visionary, which is honestly the funniest thing to come out of this whole mess. As for me, I'm doing all right. Not great, not terrible. My buddy's spare room is small, but it's quiet. I've been putting money aside. Turns out you save a lot when you're not subsidizing someone else's lifestyle. Been looking at studios, something simple just for me. The engagement ring? Returned it. Got about 60% of what I paid, which stung, but that money went straight into savings. Wedding deposits we'd put down? Lost those. Non-refundable. That hurt more than I expected. Not the money itself, but what it represented. I really thought we were building something. There were moments over the past weeks where I questioned myself. Late nights wondering if I overreacted, if I should have talked it out more, if running was the coward's way. But then I remember how quickly she dismissed my concerns, how she made me feel crazy for having boundaries, how she prioritized his comfort over our relationship without a second thought. And I remember that I didn't run. I walked away from something that wasn't serving me. There's a difference. Last week, I got one final message. Her mother again, from a new number. "I hope you're satisfied. My daughter is depressed and struggling. Her friend is gone, and she's alone. You broke her." I typed out a response. Deleted it. Typed another. Deleted that too. Finally settled on. She had a partner who loved her. She chose to prioritize someone else. The consequences aren't my responsibility. Didn't get a reply. Here's what I learned from all this. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. My ex showed me that her ex would always matter more than my comfort. Her family showed me that I would always be the villain in their story. And I showed myself that I'm capable of making hard choices when I need to. No revenge fantasies here. No grand karma moments. Just a guy who removed himself from a bad situation and let the natural consequences play out. Some of you might think I should have fought harder, communicated more, given her another chance. Maybe you're right, but I spent 4 years being the understanding one, the flexible one, the one who adjusted. I'm tired. The apartment's got new tenants now. The landlord told me. Young couple, both on the lease, both employed. Good for them. As for my future, I'm taking it slow. Not ready to date. Not ready to trust like that again. But I'm working on being okay with being alone for a while. It's not the worst thing. To everyone who read this whole thing, thanks for letting me get out. Writing it down helped more than I expected. Moving forward now. For real this time.